When we hear the word shadow, our minds often jump to mysterious, dark corners of our psyche that we'd rather not visit. Yet it's essential to understand that the shadow isn't solely a dark or evil place. It's an integral part of who we are. The concept of the shadow was introduced to Western thought by Carl Jung, a psychologist who delved deep into the human psyche. According to him, the shadow contains the parts of ourselves that we've hidden away, traits or tendencies that we've decided are bad or undesirable. Think of it as the forgotten you, the aspects you've pushed out of your conscious awareness. So, why does the shadow form? When you were a child, you looked up to the adults around you to understand the world and how to fit into it. Your caregivers played a big role in shaping who you are today. They praised you when you did something good and scolded you when you did something they deemed bad. You, eager to please and fit in, pushed away aspects of yourself that weren't accepted and magnified the parts that were. For instance, you're a 5-year-old boy, full of raw emotions. You feel deeply and you express it openly. But one day you cry over something that upsets you, and your dad yells, "Stop crying, be a man." Those words hit you like a ton of bricks. What's wrong with crying, you wonder? But the message is loud and clear. Showing your emotions is a sign of weakness, so you bury that sensitive part of yourself deep within, trying to be tough because you think that's how you should be. Fast forward to adulthood. You find yourself unable to feel deeply or express emotion. You're like a closed book, even to the people who matter most to you. You struggle in relationships because you've spent years hiding a part of who you are. What you've done, without even realizing it, is let your shadow self grow. Let's look at another example. Imagine a young girl who receives a warning from her mother every time she displays anger. "Stop it, be a good girl," her mum would say. So she tries very hard not to be angry, pushing that emotion into the shadows of her mind. But as she grows up, she finds she's still angry, maybe even angrier than before. Only now does that anger slip out in passive-aggressive comments or bursts of rage that she can't control. Her shadow self is still there, lurking beneath the surface, affecting her in ways she can't fully understand. This hidden repository of suppressed traits, then, isn't just limited to negative aspects. Many a time, our best attributes find their way into the shadow. For example, a child who is naturally assertive and outspoken might be told to be quieter and less bossy. As an adult, she might find herself holding back, never fully realizing her potential for leadership and clear communication. So, how does the shadow affect us? Think of your mind as a house, where the living room is your conscious mind, and the shadow is the basement. Even if you never go into the basement, it's still a part of your home. Similarly, even if we ignore the shadow, it subtly influences our actions, emotions, and decisions. The shadow, then, becomes a reservoir of unconscious beliefs that guide us in ways we can't readily understand. As we move through life, we might ask ourselves, why did I react that way? Or, why do I keep making the same mistakes? If you continue ignoring your shadow, you'll end up with a fragmented sense of self. So, my friend, it's wise to spot the shadow within you. Let's delve into the practical ways to identify the presence of your shadow self. The mirror of projection. We're often quick to spot flaws in others that we can't recognize in ourselves. This is not a coincidence. When we project, we are essentially throwing our inner conflicts onto the people around us, making them the villains of stories that are actually our own. These projections are, more often than not, manifestations of our hidden emotions, anger, shame, and guilt. These are the feelings we've repressed and are now residing in our shadow selves. Watch how you engage with the world around you. Every interaction can serve as a mirror, reflecting back elements of your true self. The universe is a grand stage set up to help us in our journey towards self-completion. People, places, and even objects can reveal who we are deep down, waiting for us to pay attention and embrace our complete selves. Listening to triggers. Ever wonder why certain comments or situations make your blood boil or leave you emotionally drained? It could be a reminder of your past trauma. Those are your triggers, which act like red flags waving to get your attention. They're clues that point you toward your shadow. Pay heed to these emotional triggers. Capture them before they capture you. These are shortcuts to understanding your inner wounds, revealing the darkest corners of your psyche where your shadow self lurks. Notice recurring patterns. Ever feel like you're stuck in a never-ending loop, experiencing the same issues or attracting the same type of people? This isn't mere coincidence, it's your shadow beckoning. These patterns are the shadow's way of showing itself, pleading for acknowledgement and integration into your conscious life. Your shadow is not your enemy, it's a hidden ally begging for your attention. The patterns are signs, showing you the buried parts of yourself that will keep resurfacing until you courageously decide to face them and break free. How do I integrate shadow? First up, cast your mind back to your childhood. Those early years are like the roots of a tree that hold your entire life. Ask yourself, was I wholly accepted or loved during my childhood? How did I feel most days as a kid? What was expected of me? And which of my behaviors were praised or frowned upon? It might be hard, but please be brutally honest. The answers to these questions will guide you to the parts of yourself that got stashed away. Your shadow often originates from those early moments when you felt judged or unaccepted. You see, the shadow thrives in the dark corners of ignorance and avoidance. To remove its veil, you need to shine a light, which means becoming aware. How do you do that? By looking inwards. Reflect on what you see. Don't rush. If it's something negative, don't fight it. Make peace. If it's something positive, embrace it with open arms. Awareness is the first giant step. It's like finally seeing something that was always there but in darkness. This step alone can be a game changer. This next part is crucial. When you do confront your shadow, don't beat it with a stick of shame or scorn. Remember, this shadow part of you was created out of rejection or non-acceptance. So what good would it do to reject it again? It needs love and kindness, not another layer of judgment. Shower your shadow with the same compassion you'd give to a struggling friend. Next, let triggers be your teachers. Life's challenges, your triggers, are opportunities in disguise. When something triggers an intense emotional reaction in you, don't hate it. Instead, thank it. That trigger just showed you another piece of your shadow. Recognize it, acknowledge it, and work on it. This is your path to inner freedom. Lastly, but just as important, watch your shadow without forming opinions. If you let your inner critic judge what you discover, you're back to square one. Instead, adopt the role of an observer. Watch without assigning value, as if you're watching clouds pass across the sky. This will empower you to integrate these hidden parts with love and understanding. Undertaking shadow work isn't just some form of spiritual luxury, it's a necessity. It's the highest kind of self-love and self-improvement you can gift yourself. I hope this short explanation helps you. If you love my content, please share it with your friends and family. I wish you a wonderful day.